too. So I'm going to go ahead and start with purple first, you guys. So I'm going to get purple on my brush, and then I'm going to start, this is going to be the top of my paper. So really the bottom from the first one is going to be the top of my new one. So my purple is going to go on top. Remember, you need to work as fast as possible with watercolors. We do not want this to dry yet. From purple, I'm going to go ahead and pull in some blue.
Is this paper supposed to be wet too?
Yeah. Oh yeah, doggone it. Yes, it is. You guys, you know what? Go ahead and get water. Yeah, get water on your paper. Water on your paper first. Sorry. I mean, it'll still work, but yeah, we want water on this for sure, for sure, for sure. Thank you for reminding me.
Wait, you said you're going to use a little blue. Is that dark blue?
Well, that's the kind of blue that I just used. But you guys, what I forgot to do is just wet my paper. So go ahead and wet your paper with just water.
I'm saying, which blue did you use?
Oh yeah, the same kind of blue that I did from the top. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So with my purple and blue, now I'm not going to go all the way into my purple. I want to make sure that I've got pure purple on top and just very lightly do a little blending. From that blue, I am going to take in some red. Okay. Then I'm going to do a strip of red here. Again, I don't want to go too far into my blue with the red. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of color changing. I'm going to pull in now my orange. Again, really wet paint is probably the best. But as we put the water on our watercolor, it really does help to keep everything wet. That's what we want. Okay, so we've got purple, blue, red, orange, and then I'm going to end up with my yellow. And I'm going to pull that yellow all the way to the bottom. Okay. So I would like to have a pure yellow at the bottom. Again, you want to try to move as fast as you possibly can, and also keep your brush going horizontally like this, not vertically like this. Okay, keep your brush doing horizontal strokes. Beautiful, I love that.
Mine looks pretty good for my handicap amount of color.
Alright, we'll just do the very best you can. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you look at that and give you guys a few more minutes to get just like that. So I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. 5 colors for that.
There's no purple if there's dark blue. We just put so much more on the dark blue to make it.
You guys don't have...
There's purple.
Yeah,
there's purple.
You've got purple, yeah, on your palette. It's next, mine's next to my white, the purple is.
Mine's next to my pink.
Yeah, pink and white, yeah.
It's in between my pink and white.
Yeah. So then, Tristan, go ahead and use just your 2 colors. I'm okay with you, because you only have 2 colors, Tristan. Just use 2, that's fine. Let's see, will that go unpause? Okay, here we go. So now we're going to be going back up to the top one. Just watch this first before you start, please. Can everybody see it? Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. So just watch first. I'm going to go back with my blue, and I'm going to get a good amount of pigment on my brush, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and do a darker, so really we're just repeating it just to make this wash a little bit darker, but don't do anything yet because I'm going to show you what you're going to do. Obviously you want to make sure that you've got a good amount of water because that's going to pull down your blue. You want to pull it down. You want to pull it down horizontally, not vertically. Horizontally with your brush, okay? So I'm going to keep going. Going to make sure that I've got it really wet. And again, as I'm pulling down, as I'm going horizontally along my brush, I am pulling it down toward the bottom of the picture. And then before this starts to get dry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about where I want to place my clouds. Okay, and so I'm going to take my tissue now, and I'm going to dab some clouds. What I'm doing is I'm taking off some of that, because I want to create like some light clouds in my piece. Okay, so I'm kind of looking at, and I don't want to do it all over the place, but if you can see this, I've got kind of a cloud section here, I've got a cloud section up here, and I've got a cloud section over here. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go back and redo the same thing, and then before it dries, take your tissue and just take off some of the paint area where you want your clouds to be. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to get my yellow wet. I'm going to get a little bit, and don't do this yet, just watch. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my tissue and I'm going to put it onto the yellow paint, so I have a little bit of yellow on here. And I'm only going to do the bottom part of my clouds, and I'm going to just do very gently, not too much yellow. I'm going to do a little bit of yellow on my clouds. Okay? And for me, I don't like that. I think that's even too much. So then I'm going to use another part of my tissue to get rid of some of that. Okay, so I just want a very, very light yellowing on your clouds. Okay, go ahead and do that for me, please. Just real quick yellowing on your clouds. Just to see what that's going to look like. To give me, it might take a little bit off, but I'm okay with that. Let's see what that will do. With watercolor, it's very different, very tricky. I might do this with actually, you guys, I like it better just dotting on a part with my paintbrush. Because sometimes how clouds are, they've got like white billows on some of them. That's what I'd like you to do. Check it out. I think that looks a little bit nicer. Taking your paintbrush with white paint and just dotting on a few areas. You don't want to take away that yellow, but you want to have a little bit of yellow on it because that gives it a little bit more depth. Does that make sense? So just dot on some white with your paintbrush and make it different. It causes it to have a little bit more depth to it.
I did it.
Okay, good. Hold on one second and I'll look at that. Good. Not too much. We're going to do something else with that picture when we're done. Good. Alright, so I'm going to start at the bottom of my paper, and my bottom is down here. And I'm going to give myself more of a wider base because I want a wider base for my palm tree. And remember, palm trees are not, this is where our brush strokes are going to come in, because I'm going to want a wider base at the bottom. So I'm going to be putting more pressure on my brush. And then I'm going to be pulling it up and releasing that pressure so that I can have the top look a little bit thinner. Okay? So I want you guys to do that right now. Okay?
I use the opposite color for mine.
Yeah, use a dark. Yeah, use a dark. Yeah, opposite would be good. Yep. Good.
What color is that?
This is black. I'd like you guys to use black, because I think it's going to look more like a silhouette, which is, when your sun starts going down, and you've got more of the things that are closer to you start getting dark, and so yep. And I'd like you guys to watch for my palm fronds, please. I'm going to take my black, and then I am going to try to get as much of a feathery type, not too much, that I can. I want it to be kind of messy, because in a silhouette, you're not going to see very much detail. Too much might be too much. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do any more. So we want those palm fronds to be nice and messy, because that's kind of what they would look like, kind of as a silhouette. You're not going to see a lot of detail in that. And then I'm also, you guys, going to add a couple birds in the background here, and all that is kind of making a wide M. I'm going to make a larger one, and then I'm going to make a couple smaller ones because they're farther away. Dart. I'm going to go ahead and get into my brown. Now, I like to usually use two different colors because I think it kind of gives it a little depth. I'm going to start about a quarter of the way up, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. That's going to be the first area of my mountain. Now, I'm going to pull in a little black here because I think that kind of gives your mountain pretty, kind of like a hilly look. It's like there's hills, okay?
So you're also using black?
I am using brown, and I did do a little bit of black on that because I want to have a little section of that hill a little bit different color. I'm going to pull over this brown all the way to the end. And then I might use my black to give me a couple little backgroundy type hills. So, either side, it doesn't matter what side you use. Go ahead and get your, give yourself some brown first, and then add a little bit of black, not too much, because you guys, if you add too much black, that black will take over. So pull your brown all the way to the end, and then add just a couple little black tops of the hills. That makes them look a little bit further away. I'm going to let you take a look at that. And look at the beauty of both of those landscapes, mountainy and beach. That's what I love.